I want to warn everybody out there listen to all of these alternate networks and broadcast systems pumping all this information about the press being the enemy and all this stuff that Trump is espousing, and they're picking up and reproducing it. You need to know you're just listening to another politician. These are not free thinking people. These are people with a purpose, with a bottom line. They want to make money. And if Trump can make money from them, then they're going to promote his. If Bernie Sanders can make money, they're going to promote Bernie Sanders' point of view. You need to understand that. You're not getting the truth. You're being sold a bill of goods. You need to understand that. And you need to know when you come here, I'm going to promote the biblical point of view. And let me reiterate what I said before. You know, I'm going to use every weapon in my quiver to expose every Christian, especially those that used to hang out with me, especially those that used to hang out with me, that are now supporting Tribulation Trump, that praised me when I excoriated Obama. I want to expose them. I want to expose them. And I want to use every weapon. I'm going to use every word, every strength, everything I can possibly use, because Tribulation Trump is a destructive force. He's of the devil. He's a liar. And I'm not going to let people get away with praising him and slamming Obama. You're not going to have it both ways. And God is with us. So I think it's very important that we point all of that up, Sabbath.
You know, it's unfortunate that we are living in the times that we're living in, but again, I go back to that statement of the question of, do you really love this country? Because if you really love this country, you would not allow the country to be going in this direction, so to speak. And it started with the Mac Daddy. So you can't expect anything greater to happen now when they've allowed 8 years of the Mac Daddy to reign.
You know, I would want to point up something on the heels of what you just said, that the media is allegedly the fourth estate. You have the executive branch, you have the judicial branch, you have the legislative branch, and you have the media. And I'd want to point out for most people, you need to understand that in that context, the media and media pundits and producers of media are politicians. At present, we've got both the liberal media that represents the liberal line or liberal aspect of political spectrum, and we've got the conservative media representing the Republican or the conservative line of thinking. Moreover, and then we've got the extreme right-wing media, we've got the extreme left-wing media, and then we've got right of center and left of center media in terms of broadcast outlets. And I think every person needs to know, let's say you're listening to Breitbart media and Breitbart conspiracy theories and people of the Breitbart idea. They're not mainstream media, but they are indeed media. But more specifically, they are politicians. In other words, they carry a political line. They, in many ways, if you Breitbart in particular, as opposed to, let's say, Politico or Huffington Post being extreme left-wing and Breitbart being extreme right-wing, they are politicians. And what you're going to get from them is a political point of view that furthers their bottom line, ratings and money. And they may not necessarily, many of these people you hear on the air supporting Trump may not necessarily support or believe him, but they know that to keep people listening to them, they're going to have to say what the people want to hear so they can keep their ratings, and vice versa on the right or left wing. So understand that media people are politicians. They're just unelected to office. Rush Limbaugh is a politician. Bill O'Reilly is a politician. Listen, Bill O'Reilly sat before Tribulation Trump, who declared that Putin was okay and that America is a killer, and yet because he wants to keep his political base and the money coming in, he didn't refute that. And that's what the politicians are doing now. Whether they're in the state houses, legislators, or governors, they are fighting, they are holding a political line. No matter how ugly it gets, they are protecting their own political interests. So I would think that what people need to know, that what we do here is that we protect the biblical interests.
That's right.
I don't protect the interests of the Republicans, nor the Democrats, the conservatives, or the liberals. I don't protect their interests. I protect the interests of the word of Almighty God. So John Kasich, who has refused to deal with Tribulation Trump in any way whatsoever, was at the conference in Munich the other day over there in Germany. Is that right?
Yes.
Let's roll clip number 2, Mr. Engineer, so hear what Kasich has had to say.
The conference there, a lot of world leaders, many others. What are they saying to you about President Trump?
Well, the interesting thing, Jim, is what they're saying is we can hear from the Vice President, we can hear from General Mattis, we can hear from General Kelly, but we're not sure about the President. And it is vital that the administration be on the same page. And there is question that in a time of crisis, where will America be? And I think it's just critically important that all the signals coming out of the administration are very solid and very consistent with the fact that we all stand together in the Western Alliance, that we stand strong for NATO. The President's people have all said it, but frankly, he needs to be heard in a more clear and in a more passionate way. Because despite all these people being here, I've been meeting with all these folks from all over the world. They say we're just not sure. So it is really critical that they speak with one voice on all these critical matters of national security and supporting our Western alliance, which has kept the peace since World War II.
The American people and the legislators and the governors and people in politics need to know that they should be held accountable, that Tribulation Trump is making such a mockery of our government and putting all of our lives at risk.
Yes.
The fact that they're too afraid to come up and say that he's inconsistent, what he is doing is not American, it is not some new kind of a maverick idea. This boy is putting all of us at risk. And for them to let this happen, I think they all ought to be held accountable to this. You know, but they're afraid to speak out.
Yeah, they're afraid. But you know, Pastor, the reasons I don't expect them to do that, and rightfully so, they should be held accountable. But you know, they didn't do it with the Mac Daddy. They're going to be held accountable for that too.
That's true. They didn't.
So they didn't do it with him. I don't expect them to do it with Trump.